Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. I have been playing around with this off and on for weeks now, even though it should have only taken me a few days. It's just a little web service to grab AWS credentials for users. I'm trying to do this on top of Hyper with this routetype library that I wrote, this crate that I wrote, that does Yesod style routes. Most of what I'm fighting with has nothing to do with the main stuff. Most of it is playing around with the auth libraries. So I will try to pay attention to, oh yeah, let me pop open the chat window. And if anyone has any questions, I will try to notice them and answer them. Cool. Okay. All right, let's dive in. I don't even remember where I left this off. All right, so how far does this work right now? So right now, that's right. We have client sessions available. The client sessions mean things are being stored in the cookies. If I log in, this is logging in with Microsoft authentication. And we end up back in the waiting state. That's right. And this was the problem that I was trying to solve last. Okay. Context reestablished. So let's try to figure out what's going on. So on server, web. All right. If anyone's wondering, zehut is a Hebrew word and it means identity, which seemed appropriate in this case. It won't be the final word, final term for this. This is actually an FB Complete product that I'm working on, but I figure it's fine enough to share this. All right, let's see what's going on here. Ooh, lots of information. So logged in. It has something to do with the actual cookie sessions not getting updated correctly. I'm eventually going to be switching over to server-side sessions anyway, storing everything in a database. So that's one possibility here. Would just be to switch over to that immediately. But I'm curious as to why this isn't working. So let's try to find out. All right, so where are we setting the session? So here's all the session stuff. It's on the callback side. So all the OAuth, OpenID Connect stuff is working. I am getting this logged in message, right? Logged in auth info. Right. Oh, was it that simple? Yeah, it was that simple. All right, so input, oh no. It is using the session handler and it is setting the state. So it should be setting a new cookie. Let's go ahead and turn on network logging. Let's do another login. What's going on? Cord. There we go. Why am I having so much trouble reading this? Did everything just, oh, it's being filtered. That would explain things. All right, there we go. Now let's go ahead and do a login. It's on, there it is. All right, callback. It is in fact setting the cookie. Am I passing in this new cookie? No. Must be too large a cookie. Guessing that's the problem here. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so the cookie's too large. Let's just switch straight over to server-side sessions, which is going to be change. All right. I'm going to do this in memory. I'll switch it over to a database later on. So web. We are going to have web be a contain. I'm getting rid of that. And so sessions is going to be a hash map from session ID to session state. No. Hold on. Session handler. There we go. All right. Okay. So session handler, we are just going to store a session ID client side. Right now, session handler is doing everything with encrypted cookies, which really isn't necessary in this case, but may as well stick with that for now. And then sessions is going to be a hash map. Web already, yeah, the routetype library is already handling all of the arc and mutex stuff. I think maybe I do need a mutex. I may need a mutex around this hash map, so maybe I want to be using a dash map. Dash map is probably the right thing to be using here. But let's see what breaks first. That's always more fun. All right. So, got a hash map. Import that. And then we're going to pull in some UUID libraries. I think. Did I already pull one in? I don't remember if I pulled in a UUID yet or not. Let's go ahead and check that cargo.toml. Yeah. All right. That's the version 082. I don't know if other people have a better way of finding out what version of it they should be sticking into their cargo.toml files. Probably. It does feel pretty dumb the way I do it. But doesn't matter. And let's see what it's complaining about. Let's go. I'm going to have to derive a bunch of things. Derive hash equal copy serialize and insert. It's all going to be important. And let's show debug in there too. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Let's see what breaks now. Oh, UUID does not provide SED. Must have. Yeah, feature. Okay. Almost certain it needs to be mutable and dash maps. Probably perfect for this use case. But again, let's see what happens. All right, nice. So I'm going to want to provide a new abstraction here. Let's make this screen a little bigger. Right now, I'm using the session handler. I really don't care about that so much anymore. So really, let's put some functionality. Should I go a functional? Of course I'm going to go functional. How can I not go functional? Right? Why is it loading? Oh, there we go. It should be loading up the right window now, right? Yeah. All right. Now let's go boring for the moment. Yeah, so we need to be able to get the current state. We're going to get that out of this web. Now let's do it functionally. All right. What I mean by functionally is with session state. I'm going to have this take in a callback. We're taking a function, and that function is itself going to return a response. And then this helper function is going to be able to set everything correctly. It's going to be able to set the response header when necessary. All right, so I'm going to take myself, and we're going to take in, I have to deal with an async function. It's going to be irritating. Not the worst thing in the world. Fine. I'll do the boring way first. All right, so we're going to have it take, no, it can't be self. This has to be the input. Yeah. This fetch input comes from my routetype library. This thing is now going to return a pair of the session state and an optional session ID. It returns session ID. We must call that session ID on the response. Okay. Suitable reference to a response copy. And I couldn't have it taken the option, the session ID. Could make it a member function of the session ID. That's an interesting approach. Yeah, let's do it that way. I don't know how good I feel about that. Then I'm able to just use a map. It's kind of legit. Start off with this part of it because it's the easier part. Oh, I do have to. Oh, I have to take in the apps still. Oh, okay. I just need the session handler. Yeah, so let's put this on. So if we actually have a session ID, self.session handler. What is it? I don't remember what I put this. New state. Oh, it said state. That's easy enough. Results. And all right, that's nice. All right, now let's do this one. we're only going to return an actual session ID. We'll return none if it already exists. Easy enough. Our person cookie is fine, in which case we would then get does default work here? I don't think I usually use that. I think I use what do I use to generate this? Oh, I need to turn on v4, don't I? Yeah, I'm going to need to turn that off. UUID. What does the default implementation do for this? I don't remember. Can't be anything good, can it? Turns a nil. No, definitely not what I intended. New v4. That's yes, I got to turn on that feature. All right, so you. So now I've got the session ID, and the state is going to be the default one, followed by this ID. Fine. And this will return the state. And let's be clever about this. Oh, yeah, we don't have to be clever. What am I? Oh, right. I remember what I was thinking. Okay, so this is going to start off with nothing, and then we are going to say that state dot unwrap. Could just provide a default, but I don't provide a default instances. Default implementations hold over from my half ways where we hate defaults. Make them fury 1,000 sums. Okay. In this case, we actually have the session ID. In that case, what we need to do is we need to go to, and this is where we're going to find out that we needed a dash map instead of a hash map. Oh no, it's going to be, where is that going to be? Right. What we actually want is that session. And this is why a with session is really going to be nicer here. And it's going to be a lot nicer. Get back to that. All right. Anyway, so this is going to be input dot sessions get, and we're going to look up the session ID. This is either going to exist or not. If it doesn't exist, then we're going to end up pulling in the default below, and we return none because we already have a session ID in the cookies. This needs to be capitalized. Is there a nice? Oh. Getting spoiled by all of these autocompletes. It's pretty amazing. All right, now what's going on here? Expected enum session state found a reference to session state. Oh. Oh, I get it. Okay. Because here I want to right. So I'm going to need to do some cloning here. hope I provided a clone implementation for session state. Darn it. Okay. What is the type that I'll look at here? So there's unwrap or. No, it's map or else. That's what I'm looking for. All right. I don't need or else. I just need map or. The default is going to be not logged in. And in the case that we actually had it, we want to call session state. Nice. Okay. All right. Now we're getting some. Let state SID equal get session state. We don't need this anymore. We put the new state down here. And then we do input.app.set session. Mute res. Let's call it session ID consistency. And we give it the new state. It should work just fine. Probably going to need some error handling there too. All right, is that okay? We're going to have the same thing down below, right? Oh, session state doesn't have a clone. Ah, because I was deserializing. Okay, that's fine. These need to be cloned too. Does that actually work? Kind of cool if it does. There we go. All right, and let's clone this. All of this is wasted effort ultimately because I'll move this to a database, but that's going to take extra work. And I don't feel like doing that right now. All right. Cool. So, all right. Good. So, expected unit type results. That's what I was looking for. All right. This is going to return that. This needs to return the results. That's good. So if there's no session, then we're going to do that. We need to actually, we're going to need the session ID in any event. So tempted to go the functional route. Let's just do it. Let's do with session state. How am I going to do that? Still not going to. Actually, I can just set it each time. It's really okay. That's fine. Wait a second, that should actually be handled by the cookie library, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. Anyway, that's one part of it. And now let's see everything fail. So we've got self, sessions. Yes, perfect. And this is where things fail because I'm going to try to insert session ID and this not going to work because I don't have a mutable reference. Oh, that's right. Inserting isn't insert into the actual key. I'm on the slow side right now. That state. Funny about that. Because it didn't care about the original state in the first place. That's right. So get session state from input. And we don't care about the original state, so we're just going to ignore it. Okay. And this is going to take the session ID and the new state of thinking session state. Did I get these backwards? Oh, I did get them backwards. Okay. This is why tuples are always a bad idea. All right. Hold on just a sec. I'm just checking out my stream over here. Everything seems okay. People are typing messages. I apologize. I'm not seeing them. No one's typing in any messages. That's fine. Okay. Again, it's been a while since I've done any of this live streaming. All right. Let's see what goes on here. So get callback. We got to switch this over to the new methodology. Session state from the input. Let waiting equals. You need waiting. Yeah, that's right. Waiting and session ID equals. Let's do this nicely. All right, so we're going to have match on the original state. Original state better be session state, better be in waiting, in which case we return waiting. Otherwise, we warn about this and we exit. And then we come down here and we do that. It's just begging to get cleaned up into something easier to work with. That happened. Just want to see the whole thing work for once. How's that go? Oh, cool, awesome. Thank you for the message. Now I can see that things are actually coming through. Good. Oh no. I'm gonna have cloning issues. I mean, I can work around that in an ugly way. I can serialize, deserialize. This is an annoyance about the OIDC library. The trait bound clone is not satisfied. Oh, fine. Group I can at least fix, right? That one's easy. And this one, that's not a big deal. The big deal is going to be this one. PKCE code verifier. All right. I don't remember what CSRF token is. Maybe copyable. Let's see. So let's see what happens with that. Good. That was the message that I've been waiting to see. All right. Cannot move out, and it's on copy. So, run that one. The nonce may be copyable. No. PKCE verifier. All right, let's pull that up. That comes from OpenID Connect, I believe. Nope, that's going to come from OAuth. I just typed it in incorrectly before. That may have been it. All right. This is stupid. Should probably just open up a PR on this, but here. PKCE new self.pkce verifier dot secret. Prefer using two owned instead of into or instead of two string because those are overly polymorphic in my opinion. All right, nice. So we're finally at the part that I knew was going to break. This has to be mutable. We could stick it behind a mutex, but let's use a dash map. That's 4. All right. Nice. Okay. Type signature and function. Expected signature. All right. All right. What's going on here? Did something change or did it not change? I don't think it. Oh, here we go. Option of ref. Oh, okay. What's different about the get over here? Let's find out. I don't remember. Get an immutable reference to an entry in the map. I can probably just deref this, can't I? That I can just deref it. Cannot move out. Move occurs because of value. All right. Let's see how you work with this ref. Oh, dot value. Okay, now we're in business. Let's see if with all of that, yeah, hyper the HTTP crate. I was originally planning on trying out Actix Web today, moving over to it, but I decided I've gone far enough with hyper for the moment. I'm gonna see if I can push it a little further. The annoyance right now is that I'm basically recreating a whole bunch of different functionality that, in my opinion, should be in a framework. I'd like to use something like Rocket, but each time I check out Rocket, it's not quite ready. All right, session state not logged in. I do login. And I'm logged in. Yes, it works. And we're going to see that I am, in fact, let's be sure. Change the CSS so I can actually read this thing. There we go. Code 360 is our product that I'm playing around with, and it's also the group that one of the groups that I'm playing around with. Yeah, I'm in lots of groups because that's who I am. Oh, it doesn't actually have my email address? Oh, that's right. It's that email address as opposed to my identifier. Okay. Phew. All right, so we're now switched over to a different way of doing sessions. I should theoretically simplify this down a little bit, because right now I'm using an overly complicated approach for session handlers. For this session handler, it might be useful somewhere else. Maybe I'll extract that code and stick it into routetype. It does all the encrypted cookie stuff. When I work in Yesod, that's what I use by default. I'm not sure why the data is so much larger over here. Maybe I'm just storing too much. It may actually be the actual payload. The actual payload is pretty large, as you can see. All right. What do I want to do next? Because the next thing is I should be generating. The next thing I want to do is with these tokens, I want to generate AWS credentials. I also want to allow some kind of nonce system for logging in from the command line, because that's what this is ultimately all about. It's the ability to let a command line tool log in, get some kind of a token. Maybe I should implement that part next. All right, since I'm not playing around. I'm going to make a few commits. First, I'm going to undo some of the changes I did here. So this, I'm going to go back to using the upstream version of these. Never actually used the get functionality. Here, I bet I can pretty easily. Let's do that. All right. That actually worked out pretty nicely. This should still be added. This should be added. And those are really the only changes. Good. What's going on here? Okay. There's a method named render found on that. What change did I make that would have triggered that? This is unchanged. This is unchanged. So let's close that out. Should that be necessary? Shouldn't be. It must be it must be using two different versions of the package or something like that. Private pipe is bound. Did I get rid of derive? Route? I don't think so. Where's my... No, I've got it there still. Must be coming from the wrong package. Oh well. Still want to just get this committed. And in a dash map. Event logger changed. Huh. Another way. There's no way that actually did anything, right? Oh. Oh, it did do something. Why did it do something? Shouldn't be relevant anymore, right? Where is routetype RS still being referenced? Not by path there. Oh, did I forget to save? Is it that stupid? It was that stupid. I just forgot to save. I'm a moron. Okay. I bet I can even get rid of this now. Yeah. Yeah, sure enough. I was using two different versions of a crate. All right. All right. Now we can actually get this thing finished off. So adding in dash map, adding in UUID. Those both seem reasonable. Added a clone. Okay, so the clear next step here for me is to extract all of this cookie handling logic and session handling logic into its own crate or part of the route type stuff, which is very quickly becoming an actual framework, which was not what I intended, or maybe intended, I don't know. Anyway, that's probably the next thing. But at this point, I think I'm gonna have to call it quits. Maybe I'll do a little bit more live coding later, but at least I got something in today. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining. I will, I'll try to, I'll post the video. I will try to do more of this in the near future.